Where does your confidence come from? Any tips for the shy guys? So when it comes to being confident, it is not actually about being confident. It's about being secure in who you are and what you're doing. You do not have to be confident. You just have to know your stuff. I am not necessarily a confident person. In fact, I am an introvert. I prefer not to be in the public space. I don't want to be around a big group of people. But because I understand what I'm talking about, I have the ability to rest in my knowledge and awareness of the content that I'm talking about. So I understand my business. I understand what I teach so well that I am unshakable in that. And if you put me on any stage, I can stand up and have a conversation about what I know without any issues. And because I know it so well and I've done it so many times, the repetition of having done that makes me extra secure in this. That does not mean I am going to feel comfortable standing on stage and talking about my personal life or stand up on stage and talk about a topic I'm not an expert on. You can practice to get confident. You can learn how to be more confident and secure in what you're going to be talking about. And again, that doesn't mean it's confidence everywhere on everything. You don't have to walk into the room and be confident. You just have to know what you're talking about when it comes to the things you're the expert on. So you're going to understand your content so dang well that you are unshakable on it. If somebody walked up to you and asked a question, you will know the answer because you know your content so well, whatever your business happens to be. Then you're going to do it again and again and again and again and again. Film yourself, do live streams, get in with your audience, start talking on stages, whatever it happens to be. But the more you talk about it, the easier it is. And start small. You don't have to go big on this one. Sit in your basement with a camera on, speak to the camera, and don't ever post it. Just keep doing it until you feel comfortable with it. Now get other people involved. Have your mom watch, have your sister watch, have your best friend watch, and do a live stream in a closed Facebook group where nobody else but them can see it. Get comfortable speaking to people and to answering questions on the topics that you are speaking about, the topics that you are the expert on, that you're running your business on. You need to practice again and again and again. Then do live streams. Get on Instagram, get on TikTok, get on YouTube, have the conversations. When you have the conversations again and again and again, you become more secure. If you go back on my YouTube channel, and I put this up for you, you can see my very first YouTube videos. Sadly, you cannot see my very first live streams because I was live streaming before you could live stream on social platforms, and I don't have access to the old footage. You can see how I've changed and how I've grown. I was stilted, even though I knew my information, even though I knew what I was doing, even though I was a freaking teacher who talked in front of a classroom all of the time. I was still a little insecure filming myself for YouTube. I made some silly mistakes. I had a fan running right next to my camera, and you can hear it in like 13 videos that I filmed back to back before I realized what I was doing was actually hurting my audio. You will stumble, you will fall, you will seem silly, you will feel weird, you will feel bad. And that's okay, because you're in the baby stage and you have to grow from there. It only gets better. You only get better at what you're doing. The more that you do it, the easier it becomes, the less stressful it becomes for you to do it. So knowing your content, being very secure in that, understanding how you are going to build up this process to feel more comfortable doing it is gonna be very, very helpful. Making sure that you are practicing and you're trying new things, and then you're stepping outside of your comfort zone. You don't have to massively step outside of your comfort zone, but look for opportunities to make yourself uncomfortable. When you learn to deal with being uncomfortable, it becomes so much easier to be confident and to rest in the assurance that you have the ability to say and do the things that you need to do. Look for ways to make yourself uncomfortable. I heard a really great conversation the other day between Lewis Howes and Jasmine Starr. And Lewis was saying that he encourages people to, when you're checking into a hotel, ask for an upgrade. It feels weird and uncomfortable, right? But the more you ask for the things that you want, the more likely you are to get them. And the more you step outside of your comfort zone, the easier it is to do that. Now, I have no fear of asking questions because when I was a baby entrepreneur, I asked the questions. I asked the things that nobody else in the room wanted to ask. I asked things that were silly. I asked things that I probably should have known the answer to. I have no fear of speaking to people now. I can ask any question. I can have any conversation because I've worked up to that. I've stepped out of my comfort zone just a little bit at a time. Then I made bigger strides, and now it's easy for me to do it. But another thing that you can be doing in order to learn what type of confidence works for you is to study who you feel is confident. Who in your world do you think is confident? And you can look at, friends and family and things around you, but I highly encourage you to look at Hollywood celebrities because there's a lot of data you can learn from them. So start thinking, who is, and I want you to specifically think about your gender because that's going to radiate a little bit differently. So if you are female, I want you to look at female representation here because the way that they move their bodies, the way that they engage with the world around them is going to be different than the way that a man or a non-binary person or whatever it happens to do. So whatever you are, whatever you're identifying with, however you want to represent yourself, look for that. And you're going to start paying attention. So who do you think is confident? Who do you think radiates confidence? Kate Hudson? Do you think, oh my gosh, why am I blanking on her name? I'm so blanking on her name. Do you feel like Anne Hathaway? That's not who I was thinking of, but do you think Anne Hathaway is confident? Do you feel like Sandra Bullock is confident? Now start to look at these women, start to look at these men, start to look at these people, and you're going to watch through their characters, their different movies that they're doing, the interviews that they have on talk shows. Watch all these things, and you're going to pay attention to what they're doing and how they're saying things and how they're interacting and engaging with people. Watch, because one person's confidence is not another person's confidence. So let's say you think Natalie Dormer, who is who I was thinking of, is your confident person. She's very strong. The way that she says things, the way that she does things, the way that she leans back to do things, all of that radiates confidence to you. Maybe. So now you're going to watch her. What is she physically doing? How is she representing herself? How is she sitting up? How is she leaning back? How is she looking at the camera? How is she holding her mouth? Is she smirking? Is she smiling? Is she not? What does she do? When she says something that's particularly confident, does she lean forward to the camera or to the person she's talking to? Does she rest back? What does she do? Paying attention to what those people are doing now allows you to start identifying what you see as confidence. And this can be the things that they say, how they say them, the way that they are pausing in their conversations, the way that they are physically carrying themselves. All those things are things you should be noting. Now look at more than one person. Do you start to see some crossovers from what Anne Hathaway to Kate Hudson to Natalie Dormer are doing? What are those crossover things? Those are the things that speak to you. The things that speak to you can inform what you're doing. Now, you're not copying them. You're not doing exactly what they are doing. You are going to be watching for things that you can kind of implement into what you're doing. So the way that you're carrying yourself, if these women that you feel are so incredibly confident are all sitting up nice and tall, they're crossing their legs over, they're relaxing back a little bit, but also leaning forward when they're talking, you can try to do some of those and see if it makes you feel more confident. When you feel more confident, you will have the ability to speak more confidently. So you are getting real secure in what you're speaking about. The knowledge that you have, the assurance that you understand the topics you're going to be discussing, learn those really, really well so you don't have to stress about that. Eliminate that as a stressor. Now you're going to be practicing, you're going to get better at it, you're going to start stepping outside of your comfort zone with what you're doing so you can learn to be okay with being uncomfortable. That's going to give you a leg up on what you're doing. From there, now you're going to start implementing different strategies for how you are holding yourself, how you're carrying yourself, how you're speaking, how you're engaging with people. You're going to be watching those people that you see as confident and start to identify how you do that. So again, you're not copying them, but you're looking for what these crossover elements are that you find attractive in terms of confidence, and you're going to start identifying how you can be doing those. And that can be different than what they do, but the same type of way, the way they lead themselves into a room, the way that they engage with the world around them when they're in the room, the way that they talk to an interviewer. All those things are going to implement into what you're doing. You're going to learn all these things. You're going to kind of figure out how this works best for you, and you're going to start implementing that in the process of being a confident person speaking into whatever it is that you are speaking at. It's a process. It's not overnight. It's not going to dramatically change you, but you're going to start paying attention to what people are doing. So if you find me confident, why? Why do you find me confident? Start thinking about that. Truly, if you think that I am confident, feel free to shout out why you think I'm confident. Because what Maddie sees confidence in me is going to be different than what Katie sees as my confidence. Katie might feel like the way that I carry myself is what radiates my confidence, while Maddie might think the way that I understand what I'm saying so well is what my confidence is. Look for those identifying factors and features and things that I'm doing and start implementing that into you and what you are doing, because what you identify as confidence might not be the same as somebody else, but we don't need to worry about their opinions. You only need to feel confident for yourself. And so understanding what confidence is to you and figuring out how to implement that into your everyday life and then into when you are being a public facing figure is going to change the game for you. So you just have to pay really close attention to what is confidence for you, and then how can you implement that into your life, and how can you step outside of your comfort zone, and how can you learn more about what you're doing, and how can you practice more All of those things are going to help you to start leveling up steps at a time, slowly, piece by piece, and you're going to start getting more confident. Again, you can go back and watch my old content and see how dramatically different I am 5, 6, 7 years later because I've gone through this process. And if you want to see my iterations of this, go through all my content. You can see it. It's all there. You can see how I've changed, how I've grown, what I've done, and you can implement things like that too into your strategy for being more confident as well. Wow.